This is a photo from Anime Pasadena that I took and edited last year, and I just wanted to walk you guys through what I did step by step to get this look. Let's get started. This was the original photo. First thing we're going to do is crop. I think something around here looks good. We're actually going to leave it slightly underexposed. I'll show you guys later with the masking. We're going to expose some other things a little bit brighter, but we want kind of the rest of the photo to be underexposed. Maybe bump up the shadows. And then we're actually going to drop the temperature down. I know it's going to look a little bit cool right now, but it'll make a little bit more sense later. Texture, clarity, and then we took down the dehaze just slightly as well. And then it's looking a little bit dull, so let's bump up the vibrance a little bit. And then we're going to go into the tone curve, just the regular tone curve here first, and just do our normal S curve. I don't do anything crazy in these. Generally the same kind of curve, and I tweak some things here and there. And then we're going to go into the red green tone curve. This really goes a long way. I'm going to bring the blacks up a little bit, and after tweaking, this is about where we ended up on the tone curve. Relatively unchanged. Lifted up the blacks to look a little bit more red, and then brought these down just slightly. When we go over to the masking, we're going to be able to add a little bit more dynamic lighting to the photo. And then with just the background selected, all we did was drop the exposure slightly, up the contrast, lower the shadows, and then drop the saturation. The next mask is where you're going to start seeing the changes with the exposure. And what we did was create a radial mask across her as well as the background. We ended up upping the exposure slightly about here, and then we upped the temperature as well. Doing this, you can kind of see why we left things underexposed at the start. Rather than exposing the photo correctly at the beginning and then lowering the exposure on the parts we didn't want, I underexposed the photo at the beginning and then up the exposure where I want. The next mask is kind of the same, except we subtract the subject. Go down to the dehaze, and we're going to drop that down. This is looking pretty good. There's a couple extra masks that I like to do. The first mask for her eyes is on her pupils. Bump up the exposure just slightly. And then because her eyes are blue, we're going to drop the temperature slightly also. And then we bumped up the saturation. This is about where I ended up. You can tweak the masking and how harsh it is, how extreme it is. But let's look at the before and the after, before and the after.